morning, students. Welcome back to one more session of finance. In our last class, we have talked about the different modes of doing business, that is partnership business, joint stock company, and sole proprietorship, its pros and its cons. So today we'll discuss about one more concept of finance. We call it as the fundamental principles of finance. So finance is based on five fundamental principles, that is about cash flow, time value of money, risk and reward, market prices, and conflict of interest. So we'll discuss one by one what are these concepts. Okay, the first concept is cash flows. So we are doing business so that cash comes and goes out of business. So the movement of cash into and outside the business is called as cash flow. When money comes into the business, it is called as inflow. And when the money is going out of business, we call it as outflows. Okay, when we say cash flows, it doesn't mean profit. What is profit? Profit is a remainder after it's a remainder between the revenue what you earned, the sales revenue, minus all what you have spent to make that product or sell the product. So you have to remember that accounting profits are not always equal to cash flows. Cash flows is any money which is coming into the business. It may be sales revenue, it may be a loan, it may be an investment from a partner, it may be a aid from the government, it may be some amount given by a sponsor, it may be an amount got because of sale of a particular asset. So any type of amount whichever is coming inside is cash inflow. And any amount, type of amount, it may be payment of salaries, payment of expenses, raw material payment, then interest, commission, rent, advertisement expenses, loan repayment, buying of assets. So any amount which is going out of the business is cash outflow. So a firm is considered to be a sound when there is continuous inflows and outflows of cash. So there should be constant movement of cash. That cash flow only will drive value for the firm. Sometimes what happens is many companies show huge profits in the balance sheets, but when you talk about payments, they are not prompt payers because they don't have cash. Whatever profit is there, is it in books because it is not realized, it is not been paid or received. Okay, so the cash flow, the movement of cash, the turnover of cash is very important for a business to survive. The more the cash flows in and out, the more liquid it is and the more valuable it is for that firm. Then the next principle here is time value of money. Now you must be knowing time value of money. Time value of money is the value of money based on the time where it is received. Okay, so the amount received today is much higher value than what the same amount if you receive next year or 5 years later. If I give you a very simple example, okay, say for example, you have taken a loan of 10,000. Okay, as a student, I'm talking about a small figure. So 10,000, you're taking a loan from your friend, okay, or maybe from some person, and you are saying that I will give back the money after 1 year. So say, think for example that money is taken, I have taken it from you. Will it be will you accept me giving back only 10,000 after 1 year? No, definitely not. You will ask me interest. Why? Because with that 10,000 you would have done something else today and which is much valuable. Same 10,000 doesn't have value next year. Okay, so that interest given is a reward or the rent for waiting 1 year. That's why bank take interest. Okay, so that amount, it is the time it is waiting for that return of that amount. That's why whenever you take a bank loan, in the initial year of repayment, the interest amount is more repaid than the principal amount. You can go and check if anybody is having some house loan. You can ask your parents or friends. So how it works? They can show you the clear bifurcation that in the initial year, say it's a loan for 15 years. So in an initial 6 to 7 years, the amount of EMI you are paying, in that the interest part is much higher than the principal amount repayment. Why? Because of the time value of money. If I give you one more example, when we are going to school, you can take the value of that pencil, okay, that the normal pencil which you use, it was I think 2 rupees. Now the same pencil, same quality is available at 5 rupees per piece. Why? Because over the years the value of money is diminishing, and so money should be recovered, when recovered in future should bear some amount of interest. Okay, then the third principle is, like for waiting of money we need a reward. Similarly, if you are taking more risk, you want more reward, you want more profit. If it is a business with lesser risk, you are happy with little bit margin of profit. Okay, so investors expect to be compensated for delaying consumption. That is, delaying consumption means you are waiting, they have given their saved amount to you so that you can do something good and give them more in return, because they are taking a risk of giving their saved money, not spending on their needs and giving it to you. So there is a risk that whenever you are doing a new venture, the more risk you take, the more reward you want. The lesser risk you take, the lesser reward is uh, wanted. Then the next thing, market prices are generally right. Okay, so if you want to know the value of a firm or a value of something, we have to see the market price. Market conditions of demand and supply are an excellent, you can say, benchmark for knowing the price of all traded products. So when the demand for a particular product or service or commodity is more, its price will rise. So when is the demand more? When demand is more, when you need it more, or there is a shortage, or it is a very good quality, very well established, I can say very good product, that time the demand is more. So definitely the demand is more and supply is average, the prices will surge. So prices surge when there is shortage, when there is a good quality product, and when the demand is more. So the stock prices or the share prices are a beautiful indicator about your value of the company, your market, and so on. Then the next one is, the fifth principle is, conflict of interest causes agency problems. Now, what is this agency problem? We have seen that in big companies or small companies where the owner itself is not managing affairs of the company, then the manager may not be so keen in taking decisions which are for the overall benefit or long-term benefit of the company. Yesterday I told you about wealth maximization and profit maximization. What is profit maximization? As a manager, I will think of increasing the present sales, short-term sales more. Why? Because my income or my salary is attached to the number of sales made. Okay, many of the companies, we can see the employees are given monthly targets. Based on how much sales they do, the income is more. So what will I do? I will only think about this month's sales. I don't think about next 5 years where my company is. Okay, so this is the problem of agency, where the demands or the objective of owners are different and the managers are different. Managers seek of short-term profits or profit maximization. Why? Because they want more salary. Owners think about share value, wealth maximization. They think about long-term gains, profits. So managers tend to take decisions in such a way that their compensation is increased and not the investors or shareholders' wealth is increased. So this can be resolved by, I told you, by stock options, monitoring, and market mechanisms. So these are the 5 principles on which finance is based. So if you give a quick revision, the first principle is cash flows. The second thing is about time value of money. Then the third thing is about risk and reward. And fourth thing is about agency problems. And one more thing is, okay, so that's all we have, and market prices. Okay, so these are the 5 principles on which finance or business is based upon. Now we have studied these things. What is the role of business finance? We are making 3 decisions: capital budgeting, capital structure, and working capital. Now what is capital budgeting? Capital budgeting means making decisions about where to invest or what to buy, what not to buy. Why? Because you know that we have a limited amount of investment or capital. So appropriately, you have to take a right decision about where to invest or what to buy, which assets to buy, which assets to rent. So this is called as investment decisions, or also called as capital budgeting decisions. Why budgeting? Because we have a limited amount. So we are going to bifurcate that amount into different assets and different things. Okay, next thing is finance decisions. We also call it as capital structure decisions. How to raise money? Who will give me the amount? Whether I will invest it on my own, or there is a relative, friend, a sponsor, or a bank. So, or I'll take a partnership. So what will be my mode of raising amount? So that is called as capital structure decisions. How much amount will be my own? How much amount will be on from loan? And the third decisions is working capital management. Now, what is this working capital? The capital which is working. Now, which capital is working? The building I bought is working, or the machinery I bought is working? No, that building, land, machinery, furniture, that is not working. It is fixed. How can you make that fixed asset or fixed capital working? When I have appropriate labor, when I have appropriate raw material, when I have appropriate accessories, like I need rent, water, and all sorts of things. I need sales department, I need employees to take care, I need a manager. So whatever investment or capital budgeting decisions I have taken, so to make it working into finished products, I need some other thing. That is, I need people, I need material, I need other overheads. So that amount which I need to pay salaries, to buy raw materials, to pay my bills, all these things is called as working capital. So I need some amount of cash always with me, so that I can pay my employees in time, I can buy raw materials, I can pay the bills. So these are the 3 important business decisions. Now, as a finance manager, what is your role? Now, this is a brief, you can say, structure about how a finance hierarchy looks like. Okay, so we have at the top the board of directors. Then we have the chief executive officer, or the MD. Under that, we have different departments. I've taken only 3 here because we are only bothered about finance department, but just so that you have an understanding of the hierarchy in a company. You may have different departments like marketing, productions, finance, um, maintenance, sales, and all those things. So we have different departments. Okay, so we have here we are talking about business finance. So we are taking only about that. So vice president finance, or the CEO of CFO, what are his duties? He has to take care about the capital budgeting decisions, capital structure decisions, investment, what do you say, working capital, and so on. He has to oversee the financial planning. Okay, that's what is financial planning. It is about nothing but capital budgeting decision. Then he has to strategically plan, yeah, how much money need to be spent, from where it is going to bought. When you spend, how soon it will come back. So we have to control the cash flows. What is cash flow control? The time from when amount is received, and there should be a difference in the time we paid. I can't say I'm getting tomorrow some amount, so I'll pay you tomorrow. So what is the guarantee? The received amount will be tomorrow. It may be more or less. So there should be a time gap between the inflow of cash and outflow of cash. Then only you can appropriately control cash. So under the CFO, we have 2 people. One is called as a treasurer, one more person is called as a controller. They are the assistants to the chief financial officer. So what does a treasurer do? A treasurer does cash management. Now what is cash management? Collecting the bills in time, collecting from people who have bought goods from you. So cash management, about the different details of when money is to be paid and when money is to be received. Then credit management. What is credit? Credit means selling anything but not receiving that payment then and there. Okay, so say you have a business and you're selling some products, and all the customers are not paying cash when they are buying it. Some are paying after 8 days, some after 2 days, some after 1 month. So this delay in payment is called as credit. So you have to manage this credit. You can't say okay that okay they will give us. Okay, you have to continuously be in contact with the customers and attract them in such a way that they can make early payments. How can you attract them? You give them discounts, or give them some other offers, give them some incentives. Then the next duty of a treasurer is capital expenditure. What is capital expenditure? When you are buying assets, when you are paying loan, getting loan, when you are paying loan, when you are buying assets, these are called as long-term liabilities or fixed assets. So such any outflow means when you are paying loan or selling an asset, it is an outflow. It is a capital expenditure. Why? Every day I don't sell my building or machinery. Every day I don't buy anything, any machinery or land. So that is called as a capital expenditure. Then the next duty of a treasurer is raising capital. Now raising capital means getting funds needed to do the business from bank, from investors, from shareholders, and so on. Then financial planning. Financial planning means a budget made for the year for different purposes. Say what are the different sources of income and where all I need to spend money or pay the money. Also, his one more duty is if you're doing a foreign, say in international business, you're doing export or import, or you are a MNC, even the treasurer has to take care of the foreign exchange. Then one more person is there, he's called as the controller. Now controller is like your accountant. He will not talk about where money will come, how to manage, when to pay. No, this is not his duty. His duty is whatever cash transactions are happening or whatever transactions of business are happening, he will keep a record of it. So he will make profit and loss account, he will make balance sheet, he will make cost accounting data and feed it in his computer, maintain a database so that whenever they want to take decisions or they want to see how much profits or loss are done or how much taxes we need to pay. So he is like a database manager who is keeping a record about database, or accounts manager who is keeping a record of all those things which in money terms what are happening in the business. So this is about financial manager, that is a CFO, and his two assistants. So this is the hierarchy of a finance department. So this is all about for today. So I hope you understood whatever I said. Any queries, do feel free to raise it. I will see to it that it is answered in our next session. So please subscribe my channel, give a comment so that I know that you have seen the video. So that's all for today. Bye.